Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a collective reading because we are at the full moon in Gemini. So, because it's a collective reading, I'm doing this reading with my big combined deck of tarot cards and astrological oracle cards. And I have to say that on the spread here, at least the first part, there are only tarot cards, but the card at the bottom of the deck, which is from the astrological oracle deck, it's from like this otherworldly type of realm that is overlooking this message, overlooking this full moon, overlooking this reading. And it wants to be mentioned because it's the Pleiades. And I feel like the Pleiades here is just symbolizing like this higher council, this higher dimension that is watching over us, that is it's like they're paying attention to the things that are happening here because the message, well, let me start with the first card, the Judgment card. I know that typically this card talks about, to me, in my own language, my own symbols, this talks about this very powerful tool that enables us to, make huge transformations in our lives. What this card was symbolizing today for this collective reading is that there is a trial going on. There is some sort of it's like this analysis. It's like this it's like this collective judgment, but it's not it's like rethinking judgment in the collective realm, in this higher perspective. So as if it was this trial, as if it was like this public vote, this public like this collective gathering, right, to decide something for the collective, maybe to use this tool of judgment and discernment, but from this collective agreement. So the thing about this card is that actually the sensation that I was getting from this card is that the agreement was made. So this hammer is about to hit this plaque, this, base, meaning it's like the agreement has been established, has been defined, but there is something that is coming like last minute, and I want to say kind of like this divine intervention type of, divine timing type of arrival, because, the star beings, the ETs, the, higher consciousness, beings from other galaxies, other planets, other stars, it's like they're not participants, like not direct participants in this trial, but they are aware of this. And because of that, it feels like before it's settled and done, before this agreement is made in the collective, for humanity, something new is coming up, right? It's like this last bit of evidence, this piece of information, especially because we are, in a full moon in Gemini. Gemini rules communication and, conversation and information, all of that. So it feels like there is this data that prevents this from being, defined and established and settled, because there's something that is yet to be seen that hasn't been seen yet. So the Two of Swords is talking about the unknown, the unseen, what we haven't previously been aware of. And however, in whichever way this like comes in for the trial to be decided, it's almost like it's going to change course, right? It's almost like the result would be very different without this piece of information. So something that was not seen before needs to be seen, needs to be made aware, right? Needs to be discussed, needs to be like brought to the discussion, right? If we're talking about this collective gathering and, trying to figure out in a very kind of like democratic way how to use this tool, use this power, use this judgment, and something, it's like there is a better way to use this. There is a better way to agree to this, but it hasn't been seen. It wasn't in the cards. It wasn't a possibility. It wasn't any kind of option, right? It's like nobody presented it before. And it's interesting because from now on, the reading takes on this different direction that is so unthinkable, so different than I was envisioning before, because it's the Two of Cups. So you see here how the Two of Swords is pointing up and then the Two of Cups is pointing down. So there's a lot in here. It's almost like something that was not seen before is now being brought to the discussion, to this trial, to this collective gathering, so that this tool can be better utilized by each couple. I know that it sounds very weird, but it's almost like this tool can only be worked, or can only be utilized, can only be like experimented with as couples. It's like an individual cannot do so, or cannot, it's like one person cannot concentrate this one power. It needs to be shared, right? It needs to be it's like it needs to be discussed, right? This is why there is this collective discussion, this collective gathering. Because if this information didn't come up, it's like we would be heading to oblivion, or we would be heading to like blindedness, or like this territory where people wouldn't be able to see their partners, right? It's like if one cannot see themselves, or cannot see themselves within a collective, it's like this wouldn't be, it's like it wouldn't work in a relationship, right? So it's necessary that this information comes right before this is established, or this is agreed upon in a collective level, because it's going to directly affect how people fall in love, or how people relate to one another. I wanna correct that. It's not necessarily fall in love, but like resonate, right? Find that heart resonance, because to me, this is what the Two of Cups symbolizes. And so you see here how it's like this trial was going in a certain direction, and then it flips, right? It's like this 360-degree turn, right? It's like it's now going to the opposite side, the opposite direction, the opposite outcome. So it's like it's necessary for us as a collective to see something, to receive something, maybe from the stars, right? From some sort of otherworldly realm that is very aware of what is going on, right? And it's like it comes in a very weird way, because it's like it comes out of the blue, right? It's a type of information that comes out of the blue, because it's going to touch hearts, and because it's going to go to this very deep level, like how people relate to one another, and how this is actually going to blossom. It's like it is a powerful tool, right? It's meant to influence, I want to say, or touch hearts, not just for those that are in this relationship, but whomever is among the two individuals that are in this couple, because the Ten of Cups here is symbolizing like the families of these two people, right? So it's like, if a woman and a man fall in love, it's like their families, right? This is what the Ten of Cups is representing. So it's almost like this tool, which is being discussed, how it's going to be used in this collective way, what are the terms, or what are we agreeing exactly upon, or how are we going to see the future of this tool being used and something comes up that turns the focus not to the future. That's the thing. It's like, it's not going to what's going to come next, or it's not pointing ahead. It's actually pointing to where you are right now, to maybe the person that is, right next to you, who you are already in relationship with. And it's like, maybe it's talking about like romantic relationships, as I said, right? It's like, it's going to rewire our brains, collectively speaking, in, what we understand about falling in love. What is our conception of that, right? How do we really find this attraction, this romance, this desire to be with another person and, share this life, right? But it has to do, it's almost like, for these two to form a family, it's like there are already families that are coming together because of this heart-to-heart connection. And that is the power of this, right? Whatever is being judged here, whatever is being discussed and agreed upon. So it's going to affect more than just the two, right? And as I said, it's something that is meant to be shared, because to me, the tens are the shared path. And a shared path that it's like the two people that are here, it's like they are the ones that are going to be more directly impacted by the results or the outcomes of this. But it's actually a gift for the whole, for both families. So something that was not discussed or was not being seen by just the two of you and another, right? And even so, it's like, the people around were it's like they were less aware, right? If you were not aware and your partner was not aware of this, it's like the families were even less, right? So the Ace of Pentacles is talking about how this is actually a gift that is meant to unite. So the thing about the twos and the ones, the ace is the start, but it only multiplies because of the twos. And the twos to me are the steps forward. If something changes direction in such a drastic way, which is meant to influence and touch others that are there, right? The families of these two people, and it's meant to be a gift, how can you change that in a very tangible way, in a very material way, in a very obvious way that feels like a gift instead of something that is, just going against the norm or going against tradition, going against the current, because it feels like swimming against the current. Because it's almost like, in a moment in time when there are people awakening, but there are still people asleep, still, with their eyes closed. It's like, how do you tell them about this as a gift when it feels like you're going against them? So this is where this image of this Ace of Pentacles showed itself as a prism, not a prison, a prism, right? Prism. So a multifaceted prism, like a diamond. I was seeing this as like this very rare, very expensive, very beautiful, and just very rare symbol of something that is hard to achieve. And it's like, this is the new beginning. This is the clue that starts this new way of using this tool of judgment and discernment in the collective. But it needs to be seen in a very multifaceted way, right? Not just in one way. So the way that I was seeing this Ace of Pentacles was this prism that was moving, right? It's almost like it was floating in this box that was protected, but it has nothing holding it, and it has its own dynamic, right? It's like it's spinning this way, but then in all directions. And because it's meant to be seen, not just by 2 points of view, or even by 1 point of view. It's meant to be seen by different angles, by different people, everyone who is being touched directly or indirectly by this tool, by this new beginning, by this new way of seeing like how something very rare is possible, right? If it exists, then it is possible. So here is the discussion where it might be a little bit hard to explain, because it's almost like trying to speak to somebody that doesn't speak your language, right? This is how it feels, this conversation between the High Priestess and this Knight of Swords. And I feel like it has to do with this, right? It's almost like whomever is here, right, watching over us, you know, the Pleiades and all of the star systems, all of the galaxy, you know, beings from other planets and other dimensions. It's like whomever they are, wherever they are aware. And they seem to have knowledge, right? Because they're coming with a High Priestess that is actually pushing something to the surface, right? It's almost like they're trying to poke our intuition, our sensitivity, our dream space, our wisdom, so that we can, it's like, so first of all, so that we can hold back on deciding on something, you know, before knowing this piece of information, which seems to be like this very expensive way of like just existing in society, is this existing as a collective, right? Because it's meant to be a shared path. It's meant to be something that is shared with the collective, right? It starts with couples and then it grows to their families and, you know, etc. So this is like this powerful tool. It's not meant to be used by one individual alone. It's meant to be shared. It contains this sort of prismatic overview of things, right? Of objects, of three-dimensional things. So there is this importance of seeing things from different perspectives, from different people's points of views. This character, the Knight of Swords, is coming through as very, not stubborn, but very like inquisitive, right? It's almost like they are eager to learn more, but it's almost like they are using reason to understand something that is beyond reason, because it's changed the direction. It's no longer going in a certain way. It's actually going in the opposite way, right? So it's no longer like something that we just believe because somebody told us or because we read somewhere. And this is how I feel like this Knight of Swords is coming through. It's like somebody that is, you know, still maybe stuck in a way because of the helmet, right? It's like maybe stuck in their own mind, thinking that things should follow the way that they've always been. But what this tool is now, you know, being seen as is a very, very different way, right? It's like, it's actually coming through as like a more compatible way. So it's almost like it's actually going to allow people to come together in a much more compatible way. And that's the reason why it's going to be a lot easier to see this prism from different directions, from different angles, from different points of view. But I feel like there's still, and I don't feel like this is actually you, whomever I'm reading this for. It's almost like, you know, maybe you are in tune with your intuition, with your, you know, maybe you do listen to people that channel the Pleiadians, and, you know, you are in tune with all of that. But whomever you try to explain what you see, what you feel, what you're trying to, you know, show how this is a gift or how this is a blessing instead of something that is, you know, going to disrupt everybody's lives, which I feel like it's not. It's just a matter of shifting their perspective, right? So they might come as very inquisitive in terms of not accepting where your information is coming from. Maybe that's the thing, right? If this piece of information is coming from this place that is very unexpected, out of the blue, you know, maybe from the stars, maybe from, you know, this place that nobody can explain logically, it's like, it's not in a book, it's not going to come from history, it's not going to come from science, it's actually going to come from your intuition and your connection to the stars, or our connection collectively. But there are still those who are going to question that and doubt and be stuck in their own mind, right? So it's almost like there is this imbalance. I don't know, because it feels like it's almost like this conversation that goes nowhere because they're not communicating in the same language, right? So there is this information coming for the collective before we make this collective agreement, because it needs to shift this direction towards individuals and relationships, right? Individuals in relationships and people that are, you know, part of the families, you know, because of these relationships, which is a gift. However, you feel like, you know, it makes sense to you, it resonates with you, even though there might be people who question or doubt that, I feel like you know better, right? And you know that this is something that needs to come through right now. So I am going to pull more cards. I know that this was a little bit mysterious and hard to pull. It's almost like, you know, I'm also trying to speak this new language that I don't really understand much. But I hope I did my best. And something of this, out of this message, was helpful for you. Thank you so much for being here with me. I am going to pull more cards, and I'm going to pull from the astrological runes. So if you want to join me in the extended, I'll be very happy to see you. And I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.